Good morning. So it's like a roller coaster ride for us. We will have a great session indeed, talk about new tools. But first and foremost, like about me, I am Abhishek Nandy. I am also currently writing my 5th book on mastering search algorithms using Python. But before that, let's talk about AI. We see like a lot of things happen around AI, but let's take an example. We'll play a small game and we'll stop where the process flow gets stopped. Okay, so we'll start this way. I will give a number. The person on the other side has to add the number and pass on. So if I say 1, then the next number would be 3. Okay, so we need to continue. And where the information flow stops, we'll continue from there. Okay. Okay, so let's start. I give you 2, 4. 13. Okay, so we saw that there was a break in information itself. Okay, so what happens if information is not given properly to the machine and machine is not able to interpret? We get erroneous results. So we cannot continue the entire structure till the end. So that's the way also LLMs work. Large language models, when we are working with it, the basis of it is transformers. Okay, so we have to make sure that when we are working with LLMs, it's like a proper utilization. We don't have to mess up with the information itself. Say we have the fingers itself. Now this finger and this finger are interacting with some information. Okay, but if there is a breakage, what happens? It goes to the next finger if it's available, or it's lost itself. Then there comes a situation of hallucinations. Okay, so we have to make sure this thing doesn't happen. So for that, what we do? Anyone would like to say? How do we organize the data set that's available for us? Anyone? So we have a data set to get started with. What do we do? Yeah? We pre-process the data. But in terms of LLMs, what should be the approach? How do you pre-process the data? So that it can be a better context, okay. How many of you know about vector databases? Is it? Like what kind of information gets stored over there? Embeddings. So when we take this entire data with us, the first thing we need to do is we have to structure the entire data set. There might be some redundant data that's there. Then we apply certain ways. Probably you have, in this room particularly, we have n number of companies coming. So to segregate among the companies, we have to distribute accordingly. When we distribute, we give a number or an ID associated with it. So this ID is an identifier for your LLM. In terms of like when we build a big LLM for ourselves in a structure itself, we call this as SKU IDs. Okay. So it helps in doing the follow-up questions when you're dealing with a chatbot in LLM itself. Okay. So we segregate the data, then we organize it into the values, and we have a format itself. Now again comes in what we do next. We have created we have put in the structure, what we do next. Yeah? Text chunks. But we haven't indexed the structure itself. Indexing is a very important part in LLM. So we have to have indexing created. And after the indexing is being done, then what we do is, there is something called a buzzword nowadays. Everybody knows about ChatGPT. We create prompts. Okay. So we start with the prompt engineering itself. So how the prompts work, the best way to deal with prompts is that store user information in a session storage, either using a Redis database or anything that suits for you. Okay. Now comes in the story of vector databases. So where do we store it? Is there a specific point that we can store the database? Can you give some examples of it? we are storing the databases itself. Database, what is the database we are looking for? Is it open source? Is it like from people? Can you name two databases that are? Pinecone and VV8, okay. ChromaDB, okay. Yeah, okay. So from these, which one is free? ChromaDB 1, then Quadrant, again VV8. So we use VV8 for our LLM structure itself, okay. Now when we are storing that, it becomes very easy to get information back. And then you have the prompts being created. That prompts allow us to interact with the data that's being given to us, okay. So when we are interacting, what are the issues that might happen? So simultaneously, everyone in this room is trying to interact with the chatbot. What are the issues that can come in? Performance issues. So how do we rectify it? Hallucinations may come, yeah, of course. So that rectification is done with the help of a concept that I've already mentioned, unique identifiers for the information, prompt engineering, as well as when we are giving the data back, we have to see that there is a proper negation handling process being done. Okay. So you see in ChatGPT itself, we can ask follow-up questions. Okay. So for this follow-up mechanism, what is the most important part in this LLM structure? Yes? Attention? One identifier, let's talk about single identifier. SQIDs, these are unique identifiers that allows us to do some also, what you can say, adding up the data. Okay, and after that you can continue. So that's the way you get started. And front end can be React, back end can be anything, Django you can use. So that's a basic structure of how the LLM work. Okay, so let's continue with it. So today's our main target would be, we would be talking about LLMs. We give a brief overview of it. Then we have generative AI in Intel Dev Cloud. Okay, so there are a lot of changes happening in Intel Dev Cloud. Today, what you see right now might be it's changed after a single month. Okay, so we need to just wait for it. Okay, we'll try to register everybody here. We will try to go through the labs and we'll see like if you are able to do it or not. Okay, so there is one exciting workshop contest being happening where you can participate in the lab exercise and be one of the first winners to complete and win an exciting Intel goodies. Okay, so sign up for the Dev Cloud, and there are amazing prizes at our hands on the workshop. So take a snapshot, probably who are signing in, and also through the Jupyter Lab itself. And if we can share, we have Pawan with us. You will have to share the coordinates with Pawan. You will get the goodies back. Okay, so that's the way. So let's get started. Now what's the agenda? We started about LLM, and why I talked about, because there are a lot of LLM challenges happening around. Okay, so from Intel also we are having a LLM challenge. I strongly encourage all of you to participate, where you gain knowledge and also the structure of Intel Developer Cloud. How do you register for IDC, the new Intel Developer Cloud? And then Intel AI Analytics Toolkit, demo on the Intel Dev Cloud, LLM demo, and Gen AI demo. Okay, so let's get started. So oneAPI hackathon, the LLM challenge. So that's the story where you have the entire oneAPI hackathon happening from Machine Hack. We have prizes, but most importantly, if you create something, you are doing it for the first time, and it might be a very good experience for you. So I would strongly encourage everyone to participate and gain knowledge into this challenge itself. Now, what are the problem statements in this? So if you can check, like, The goal is to use LLMs that we are covering, leveraging their text understanding and generation capabilities to put up accurate context-aware answers. Probably you can use prompt engineering to get better results. The computation is divided into two intriguing phases. Phase one is from September 14 to 29th. I have to check like if it's continuing or not. And there are a lot of more challenges coming simultaneously, and the dates have been changed. In the phase, participants will put up the model to the test to get the highest level of accuracy in the QA task that's been given. So you can create a Jupyter notebook, check that your answers are coming in or not. Then you can take it back, create the model, and from there, you create the entire set of application that's there. Okay, so that would be done in phase two. The phase is where developers will step outside the comfort zones of dealing with algorithms, document their journey in a GitHub repository, and write a detailed blog about it. So when you're doing this, that's like a journey for you, and you can take notes when you're creating something new, share it with the world so that everybody knows about it. Okay, so judging process and criteria, the final score will be based on 40% on the phase one, that is the way you are creating the Jupyter notebook. Flickering. This screen is going off. Screen is going off at times. Okay. So 60% on phase two, like use of Intel oneAPI optimization. In the final application, reusability and the case of deploying the application to Intel Dev Cloud. Structure of GitHub repo, the way you structure your entire GitHub repo and README instruction. A short blog highlighting the features of the application itself. Okay. Okay. So first of all, we will start with the registration of the Dev Cloud. It's been shared. So we'll start it. We have volunteers around. They will help you out with the registration process. And I think pamphlet has been shared to you. Pamphlet or shared. So we will start that. Okay. Paricha, you can get started. Let's check. You work with check. I can get down and check. Use the free instance. If you face any issue, just raise your hand. I will be there to help you out. Okay.
Through the setting up process for the Intel Developer Cloud. Also, we will enable you to understand how do we launch the Jupyter Notebook. It is a very simple process and very easy for you to follow. I'll explain you step by step. Follow this and you should be able to get the connectivity done. The first step is to get the SSH key generated, and the command SSH-keygen will come and help us in this purpose. You need to go ahead with the PowerShell and you will have to launch the PowerShell as an administrator. So I am opening it right now. You can see that I am launching it as an administrator, and there when you type the command SSH.
So we can follow together itself. So if you want, you can have the process done. That the link being showed, scheduler.cloud.intel.com. You just log in there, and before that, you will have to. There is a handshake that needs to be done from your system to the Dev Cloud. Okay. So this handshake is happening with the help of the SSH key. Until and unless this SSH key is being registered, and we both of them shake the hand together, it won't work. So we'll have to create it. So this process, my friend Sriram is showing, is how to create the SSH key. So you can take notes also, small notes, the commands that are being shown. And after that also we can circulate the video too. Okay. So carry on following the video itself. Thank you.
Keygen, it will work. Now it will ask you for certain entries to be done. Just press enter, press enter, press enter. That's all. You've got the key generated, and you can see that it's confirming that the key has been generated. And also you could see the place where it is stored, and it is in the C colon users Sriram KV dot ssh directory id underscore rsa dot pub. So we need to know what exactly is this. So we are going to open it right now, and I'm going to do that. Notepad, and if you copy this and if you open this through the notepad, you should be able to understand and view what is the key that is generated for your reference. You can see that here the key is generated. I request you to just copy until this equal to and keep this key safer in another place, because we will have to use this at later point in time. So the first step is done. You have generated the key and you know what the key is, where the key is saved, you have viewed it as well. This is done. Well, we will go to the next step right now, and that is also easy. We need to log in, or you need to register if you are not already registered with Intel Developer Cloud using this link, https scheduler.cloud.intel.com. I'm going to do that right now, and we will see that how exactly it works. Scheduler.cloud.intel.com, and you can see that it is all available. First time if you are launching, you will have to probably fill certain details to get the account created. I already have the accounts with me, so should not be a problem. Now you go to profile. There you have got something available here for you to fill the SSH key that you have generated. I have already tested it, so you were seeing some key there, but for you, when you are doing it in the first time, you will not see anything, and you will have to fill the key here. The key has been already saved here, which I told you some time back, and I am taking the key completely and I'm going to fill it up here. The key has been saved here. Click the save key option. That's all. The key has been saved, and what you have done is very simple. You have generated the SSH key, you have connected it properly with your profile, and before you log in, you must have created an account for you. If you have not created it, you should create it before you start working in it. Right? This is very clear and easy to understand. Well, we have generated the SSH key, and now you can see that I have navigated into the directory .ssh. There are two files available for you, id underscore rsa and id underscore rsa.pub. This file is the one which I opened some time back to get the SSH key, and we mapped it to the profile. But there are a few more things that we need to do, and that is with respect to understanding what is your user ID. We have an user ID allocated. We need to know what is the user ID. You are going to select an instance here and click launch. When you do that, what you get is nothing but your user ID. You can see that this is the user ID that we are talking about. Just make a note of your user ID. U101460 is the one that is allotted to me. I'm just making a note of it and nothing else. This is a simple step. This will be needed for you to include it in the config file which we are going to create in the next step. Yes, we need to create a config file, and that config file should go inside the SSH directory, SSH folder, and I will show you where exactly it is available once more. You can see that it is available in the C colon users, my username, followed by .ssh directory. Here we are supposed to create a config file, and that's what we are going to do right now. I have got a config file created already available with me, and here you have the username, right? This user ID, sorry, the user ID is the one that we have found out just by doing some process what we have done right now. When you click launch instance, you get the user ID. Make a note of it, and that's the one you will have to fill in this config file properly, without which it's going to not work, right? I have now saved this. This is the config file. I have given this also clearly in the description part of it. You can take it up and you can identify what is your user ID, and you will be able to get the user ID properly through the process and include it here. Now, where do we keep this file? Where do we store this? That's the step that we need to understand. I have created the config file, and because of the steps and sequences that we have done, we would have gotten a directory by name .ssh created. It should be available here. As you can see, it is there. So just go there, and there you have got the config file. I have to add the config file whatever I have modified right now, and I am replacing it with the proper user ID. If it is already there, which means that I have tested it, but when you are creating it for the first time, you will not have the config file there, and it is your responsibility to create a proper config file. So ensure that you do this process.
Okay, so we are pausing for a while. This is the most important part where you have to have the config file created. So for Windows users, if you have Visual Studio Code, you can easily create that config file and save it. You need to save it accordingly to the users folder within that .ssh subfolder that's been created, and it helps for the interaction between your local machine and the dev cloud. Okay. So we are continuing right now.
Process properly. Now the config file is all done. You have completed the process. Now the next step is going to be very simple, where we are going to use PowerShell with certain commands, where you will be able to launch the head node instance through which further process can be done. So what we have done now, very simple. We identified what is your user ID. We created a config file. In the config file, we included the user ID properly, and we moved it onto the .ssh directory. That's all. This is done.
Yeah.
We are getting into the most interesting part. We have to open the PowerShell again, and we have to issue certain commands, and we are going to be introduced with a couple of new terminologies here. One is head node instance and another one is batch node. We are going to use the command ssh myidc. The moment you do that, you will get connected to the head node instance, and this will enable you to be authenticated. That's all. So you are getting into the head node, and you have seen that head node is included here. But is that sufficient? No. We need to get into the batch node, where you can get access to the required and desired computing device. So that's going to be very important for us. So how do we do that? The next step is going to be important. This is the first command that you need to issue: srun space --pty space bash. This is the first command. Let's issue that. This is done right now, and you have seen that it has been run successfully. Now we are going to run this command, which will ensure that you are getting into the batch mode. So the batch node will be activated, and that will be visible very clearly for you once this command is executed. You can see that we have got the batch-pvc node. Earlier it was only the head node. Now you have got the batch node. So this is very important step. And you also see that we have got all these oneAPI environment items initialized properly. This is a very important step, so please do it carefully, and I hope you understood that. What did we do? Very simple. We have gone to PowerShell, we issued the command ssh myidc, and then we have issued these two commands one after another to get the clear navigation from the head node to batch node. That's it. We are getting into the next step. That's it. Try it out and it should work. We are getting into the next step.
Okay, so when we move to head node to the batch node, there was a particular shell command that's being shared and shown over here. That's very much important, because when we are using the head node, you cannot use the PVC instances. You have to move to a batch node to get the instance. For that, we need to use the shell command that's being shown, and it allows us to log in. Okay. So entire steps you need? Yeah, it's there. It's there. Yeah. Okay. We'll share it. Yeah. Is there a place where every step is being shown for this old one? A link or something like that? No, we have to share it across. Setup video link with instruction. There is a YouTube video link, that the same video that you see. In there, all of the instructions are there. So just go through it, and you would be able to follow up accordingly. Link look like in IDC. I will just log in, and after that we'll see like what are the instances that are available. Okay. Have some. Let's go through it. It will take a small time, like 10 to 15 minutes to complete. So when you just log in for the first time, you will see the instances available, but you need to select where you see the Intel Max GPU PVC with Jupyter Hub, batch processing, and scheduled access. So if you just click on it, and if you have set up your PowerShell SSH key, there would be an option for launch instance. But most importantly, you can check on the left-hand side that the operating system as well as the specs that's being given to you is like very mind-boggling, and you can also take advantage of it. Like you can just have a look what are the dimensions are there for your RAM as well as storage. You can take advantage and you can start working on it. So I would just click on launch instance. So when I click launch instance, and if you have all the details ready, like the information of your the SSH key, you would be able to see that there is one page opening close to that, and it would take you to the Jupyter lab itself. You will see on the left-hand side, there are some symbols being given. These are like ways to get inside the IDC, the developer cloud itself. So if you just click on the plus button, it allows us to see what are the instances that are available for us. Okay. So you can see right now in terms of notebook, you can open up the notebook in terms of the simple Python code that's there. We have the oneAPI based toolkit. If you want to work on a modern, that's alternative to pandas, you can have a look, get started. PyTorch is there. PyTorch GPU on Intel architecture, it's available. TensorFlow CPU is there. Other versions of TensorFlow is also there. Okay. And apart from that, you will have the console links also. Now you might be asking like, I have a GitHub link, how do I clone it? So there is something called terminal at the bottom. On the left-hand side, you see that dollar sign. If you just click on it, it would open up a terminal over here. Yeah.
Connected to mobile internet or Wi-Fi internet?
No, mobile one.
Your mobile internet.
No, Kavita's one.
Okay.
Kavita's.
You can connect with my mobile internet.
Okay, yeah. Select, I am showing this because it has got the stable diffusion demo here itself. And in this, you have all the options to set up your IDC. You can have a look step by step. It's a GitHub link. I will just magnify it. So this is the link you can access. So that's the link, you can check on it. Just copy this particular link. What we can do is just go over here and just have this option selected. We'll just copy it, and we go to the dev cloud option that's being shown. And here you need to write in git clone and copy that particular GitHub link. So when you do that, this particular structure, it's already there at my end. So if it's not there, it would be created for you. Okay. So now on the left-hand side, you will find all of the folders that's been created from you, or you have cloned it from GitHub. It's already there in the oneAPI dev submit link that's there. We need to just double click on it. You will see there are two notebooks that's been given. You can give it a try. Stable diffusion one. If you just open up, you have to select PyTorch kernel. That's there. PyTorch. Because until and unless you have a kernel, you cannot run the entire code. So this activates the notebook for you, and you just click on select, and step by step you follow along. You would be able to get through the results itself. Okay. So this particular notebook, I will thoroughly recommend that you can go back and try. It's available for free and also there in GitHub. Okay. Now, apart from that, what are the other things you can do? So for me, what I did was I created some of the notebooks for LLMs. Let me see if it's there or not. Okay. So with this, the process you can do is like install new Langchain library or the library that's there. You can install it from here, and accordingly you can follow. But there are some restrictions that might come in. You have to check, like with an user extension, you would be able to install it. There is this tiny LLM fine tuner. You can also have a look for that entire process. But if you want to run it, you have to set up this environment 1.yml file that contains information of Langchain itself and the way you get started with it. Okay. So I will just pause for like 5-10 minutes, and if we can see like how many people have already logged into the Dev Cloud, if we can have raise of hands. Giving one particular email ID, take a note or take a timestamp of when you registered it. You need to send it to us. We have goodies for you. Okay. You have to send the email IDs. These are the coordinates. Take a screenshot, screen grab from the Jupyter lab environment, and share it back to Pawan as well as Kavita. So you stand a chance to win the laptop back. Okay. Yeah. What we will do, we'll continue from this where we left off, where we were on the demo on Intel Developer Cloud. Please share your timestamps with us so that we can have a look. And let's continue. So AI reference kits. So as you can see from the picture itself, that different kind of things can be done with the help of the AI reference toolkit that's being available from Intel. We have TensorFlow as frameworks, optimized frameworks for TensorFlow, PyTorch, MXNet. Then we have XGBoost, ONNX, LightGBM. In terms of data analytics, we have Modin. Modin is like an extension to Pandas itself. And we have NumPy and other libraries such as Intel distribution other than that. Okay. But one of the most important part that integrates the entire reference kit together is the oneAPI stack itself. So in terms of oneAPI stack, if you want to do some faster numerical calculations, there are libraries inbuilt that you can take advantage of it, like Intel Data Analytics Library as well as Intel Math Kernel Library. That helps us to process numeric data very fast. Definitely, I will suggest that you have a look for that and use it on your projects. That would make much more greater impact on the results that are coming. Okay. So that's like a complete picture of it. What are the things you can do from the AI reference kit? You can do data pre-processing, you can do feature engineering, you can do model training, hyper-tuning, quantization, as well as, because in terms of LLMs, when you're working, you need to quantize your model. So this part might be very important. That's the Intel neural processor. Okay. And apart from that, you do inference itself. Okay. So there are some issues that you can face when you are using the Dev Cloud. Might be that your job is hung waiting in the queue. So what are the trivias for that? There is a limit of one running job per user. So when you're doing some work, only one job would be permitted for you to run on the server itself. So that's the thing that's being mentioned. So SN run job allows us to run only one particular job at a time. Okay. First we have to delete the job with the command that's been given, scancel command, and try srun command again. Okay. At times when you use explore, different kind of structures or files that you have created, the shell files that you have created, you have to use these methods itself very often. Running SYCL doesn't list any GPUs. So SYCL is an abstraction on C++. So that's a very good language you can also explore and also you can do. It's based on C++ itself. But the general important part is that it supports parallel programming to the depth itself. And you can code in multiple formats, and you can convert from one particular device to another. So there might be also permission error that many people have faced, like user local live node libraries YAML server is not listed. Check the bash prompt and verify whether you are on the compute node. Okay, that is the differences between head node and the PVC node itself. So not all the commands will work on head node. You have to move to PVC node that's being allocated to you to use it. So that's more about it. So if you have any questions regarding the entire subject that's being shared over here, we can take Q&A for that. Have some access issue with internet. So the entire stack that comes, the developer cloud, inbuilt, the oneAPI stack is integrated. Okay. So the PyTorch that you see, the TensorFlow that you see, it's being optimized for performance. Okay. So inbuilt, when you are using it, it takes advantage of the oneAPI entire stack that's available.
Okay, so it will be similar like a language process model, right?
So language processing model might be different because it's a library itself, but here you are using a framework that helps you to, have working together of LLMs with the framework itself. So in terms of that, both of them are different.
Okay, so if we use that, so we don't need any specific key or something to communicate with it, right? As it's a package that is what you said.
No. So when you are there at the Jupyter Lab notebook, you don't need anything. Till the point you have to have that PowerShell SSH key to get hooked, and then you can get inside it. Yeah.
More questions?
Hey, Abhishek, thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
So, you were telling about concurrent queries with LLM. So, what kind of issues do we face? And you also described a brief about unique identifiers, something related to proper negation. Can you please elaborate?
So, let's start with concurrent queries first. So, say you are using OpenAI, okay, for your work, but there is a limit to how many times you can access it. Okay, so what happens is that particular queries that are being handled and sent back, it creates a queue. It doesn't answer all of the questions at one go. So with that, you get irregular responses, and the chatbots that are created might not give better results. For that, you have to find out what is the best solution for you. That needs to be embedded within the Python code itself. There are different mechanisms for that. You can follow along. And what was your second question?
Yeah, okay, I think it covers the unique identifier thing. Which
Yeah. Itself. So unique identifier, why it's needed, that each and every individual might be having, over here itself, in this particular room, everybody comes from a different kind of background. Okay. So they have lot of information. So this information, when they are interacting and getting shared, it becomes of large altitude, or say magnitude itself. So with the help of SQID and information that is coming from prompt engineering, you can concatenate both of them, and you can get a better response in the prompt itself.
Okay. Just another question, like you were telling about Langchain. Do you have some experience in productionized application with Langchain? How is it, like performance of Langchain?
Langchain is very good, and because nowadays, if you're trying to use information or sequential flow, so it has got lot of capabilities to do with it. But one problem was that it was not interactive with other databases that were there. Okay, so there were some issues. For that, there is one different kind of same chaining index being created. It is known as llama index. So you can compare between both of them and see which one is best for you. Yeah. Welcome. Would you like, Kavita would like to? Given to you for survey. I would request that everybody does the survey itself. It helps in improving. Apart from the experience of Wi-Fi that we had, so we couldn't help each other for that. But apart from that, how was the session and what's the information you got? Probably you can share all the details itself. Share the screen grab that's being done and send us an email for that. And yes, you have to send the email. It will. Yeah, I will just check in once and okay. So with that, probably we'll end the session. Yeah, we could have done if we had a very good Wi-Fi with us, but welcome to the new Intel Developer Cloud. There is more to explore, new horizons coming in. You will see a lot of opportunity in it, and I definitely promise that from our side, we'll give you one of the best experiences that are there, and you will enjoy it. Thank you all.